It's going down. Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakwadash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth and sincerity while patiently waiting for Yahweh Shai's return. And double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And welcome to another series of It's Going Down, being brought to you by the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Biden prepares for simultaneous wars with Russia, China, and Iran. So, as we progress towards time, we start to see Iran being mentioned more and more in the news. Why? Because Iran is one of the main prophecies that is mentioned in the Holy Scriptures. Before Yahweh Shai makes his great return, one of the main events that will lead to the downfall of the so-called white man's empire, Esau Edom's empire, starting with the so-called elites trickling down to the rest of their nation of people. One of the main events that will lead to the downfall of their empire is when the so-called Israelis make their move on Iran and they draw the United States of America into this confrontation against Iran with them. And that is a major prophecy that is spoken of in the King James Bible. So, just real quick, I want to go ahead and get that. Okay. Now, before I read this scripture, I would like to read this article here. Okay. So it says here that Biden's pledge not to put boots on the ground in Ukraine and risk World War III with Russia was clearly a lie. And you know, the scriptures speak about that. You know, okay, it tells you that in the book of Sirach, the 12th chapter, and I believe the 10th verse. Never trust thine enemy, for like his iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. The book of Psalms, chapter 58, verse 3. It says the wicked, who's the wicked? That's talking about the so-called white man, starting with the so-called elites, trickling down to the rest of their nation of people. They are the wicked, which are estranged from the womb. Okay, they are also the biblical Edomites. Okay, it says they are estranged from the womb. They go astray. Astray from what? Astray from the right path, the path of righteousness. They go astray from the path of righteousness. That's why it tells you in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 4, that his soul, his spirit, which is inside his body, is not upright in him. Okay, because they was never created to be an upright people. They was never created to be a righteous people. So they go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. And Joe Biden is no more than a devil. Okay? When you look up the word devil, it goes back to the Greek word diabolos, the Latin word diabolus, which means a deceiver, a person who plays tricks on people, a liar. That's what a devil is. It says the White House, in yet another provocation, is now reportedly debating sending troops to Kiev as cannon fodder to help guard our reopened embassy In March, Biden called for regime change in Russia in a scripted speech, and then his handlers walked it back by claiming it wasn't a call for regime change. So, Joe Biden, who is an Edomite, he speaks with a forked tongue because he was born a devil, okay? He's going to tell you, and see, that's what it means to speak with a forked tongue. You say you're going to do something, but then on the other side of your tongue, you actually meant for something else to happen. You say you're going to do something, but then you turn around and do something else. That's just like when the conquistadors and the Spaniards first came over here to the Americas. Well, what was going on? They was making peace treaties with the so-called natives of this land, coming under the guise of peace, peace, peace. But in the back of their mind, they didn't want peace, they wanted war. Tells you that in the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 20, all the way down to 21. Now, let's go back to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 45. Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord. The word counsel means advice that he have taken against Babylon, which is America, and his purposes that he had proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. The modern day Chaldeans today is the Illuminati. How do we know this? Because back in the ancient world, the ancient Chaldeans were known for doing ritual type practices. They were known for carrying out human sacrifices. They dealt with art, magic. They had wizards and witches among them. They were heavy into sorcery. And they were responsible for keeping people under their rule in a spell, casting some kind of spell on the people under their rulership to keep them docile, lazy, obedient. Okay. And one thing about the ancient Chaldeans in ancient Babylon was they were a very secretive people. They loved to do things in secrecy. That's why in the book of Isaiah, the 29th chapter and the 15th verse, what does it say? It says, woe unto them that seek deep that, let's just get it real quick. Okay. Isaiah chapter 29, verse 15. Okay, it says, woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And that's what the ancient Chaldeans did. And guess what? The modern day Chaldeans today, who call themselves the Illuminati, they're doing the exact same thing the ancient Chaldeans did. Now, don't get me wrong, the ancient Chaldeans under the Babylonian rule, they were not Edomites, but that still don't change the fact that, the modern day Chaldeans today are predominantly being ruled and controlled by Edomites. Okay? And it says, woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord. Because that's exactly what the Illuminati do. They come together in secrecy. They have these meetings. And basically their conversation is about how to further oppress and destroy society, especially the nation of Israel, which are the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Indians. And their works are in the dark, meaning their works are in secret. Because before the Illuminati was first mentioned on the internet, nobody knew who these people were. Nobody was aware of their ritualistic practices. Nobody was aware of their ritualistic practices or their human sacrifices or all of their wicked, unrighteous, and abominable works. Nobody knew about it until, the Lord put the spirit on some hackers to hack into, certain things, and then put them out there on the internet. Put out their works on the internet. And they say, "Who seeth us? Who knoweth us?" Exactly. So now let's go back. So therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Babylon. And the so-called elites, the rulers, the heads, the leaders of the Illuminati, they have an agenda called a New World Order. And everything that we see going on here, this is all a part of their plan. They want a global world war to break out. Okay? And a matter of fact, they were the ones responsible for World War II breaking out. Talking about the Illuminati, started with the so-called elites. It says, "And that he had proposed against the land of the Chaldeans," which the land of the Chaldeans is predominantly Babylon, which is America. "Surely the least of the flock." Now the least of the flock is talking about the so-called Israelis. Are they not the ones going around the world telling the world that they are the flock of the Lord? They are of the Lord's sheep. Are they not going around telling the world that they are Jewish? Okay? And they're not Jewish. Those people in the land of Israel today are not Jewish. According to the Holy Scriptures, they are descendants of Amalek. Amalek is one of the descendants of Esau. He comes from the line of Esau. So those people in the land of Israel telling the world they're Jewish, they're not Jewish. They are ultimately descendants of Esau. Okay? So it says, "Surely the least of the flock, those so-called Israelis, shall draw them out." Shall draw who out? Babylon. Shall draw Babylon out into this war against Iran. "Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them." Because during World War III, a nuclear war is going to break out. And Russia and China and North Korea and all of these other countries which hate Babylon, they're going to shoot their intercontinental ballistic missiles on Babylon and destroy it. And thus this land is going to be wiped out during the nuclear war. And not just this land, but the land of Israel as well. And that's according to prophecy that is written in the Holy Scriptures. And so it's going to happen. And with that, I'm going to say, Shalom is on to the next one.